Can you even recall a time when a weekend trip to Vegas was cheaper than filling up your car? I'm talking about that golden era when you'd roll into town and find a prime rib dinner that was practically a giveaway, and you could snag a hotel room for almost nothing, so long as you tried your luck at the blackjack table. It was truly the great American bargain. The city's promise was clear. Come here, have a blast, and let us take care of everything. But something has gone terribly wrong on the Strip. The neon signs are burning brighter than ever before, yet it feels like the welcome mat has been ripped right out from under us. Just recently, I was in line at a gift shop, watching a young couple simply trying to buy a bottle of water and a Gatorade. The cashier looked them dead in the eye and said the total was $25. That's more than just inflation, my friends. That is a fundamental promise, broken. The lights are blazing, but it feels like the soul of the place has vanished. For me, walking through the casinos this year was less like a vacation and more like visiting a wealthy uncle who has suddenly become incredibly cheap. It's a chilling, deeply uncomfortable feeling. It's like listening to a car engine trying to run with no oil. You know that eventually the friction will become too much and the whole machine will just seize up. You can physically feel that tension in the atmosphere. The smiles you see on the faces of the staff seem stretched and painful. And the sheer excitement that used to fill the guests has been replaced by a continuous look of disbelief every time they glance at a menu or review their hotel bill. It's like the party ended an hour ago, but they're still charging everyone premium prices for the flat champagne. But stick with me here, because today I'm going to do more than just complain about an overpriced cup of coffee. I am going to meticulously break down the 7 specific pieces of evidence that prove this aggressive new price gouging strategy is, in fact, causing the entire Vegas economy to implode. We're about to uncover exactly why the celebrated loss leader formula, the very concept that built this incredible city, was completely abandoned, and why that catastrophic decision is now coming back to haunt them. And when we reach the heart of this investigation, I am going to reveal a jaw-dropping confession from a top-tier casino CEO, along with the real financial numbers they tried to bury. Numbers that show precisely how much money they're hemorrhaging by trying to empty your wallet. Part 1. The $25 reality shock. Let's revisit that receipt I saw in the gift shop, because it symbolizes something far more disturbing than just inflated prices. When that cashier demanded nearly $25 for 2 ordinary drinks, the couple didn't just seem surprised. They looked utterly betrayed. You need to grasp that this wasn't some fine. You might lose at the tables, sure, but you'd win with an incredible show and a lavish room that cost you peanuts. That was the unspoken agreement. We were willing to risk it all at the cards, because the rest of the dream was basically on the house. The thrill of the gamble was worth it, because the corporations were footing the bill for everything else. But that entire contract has been ripped to shreds. Now, they're not just content with winning at the tables. They demand a win at the soda machine, the parking garage, and even the front desk when you check in. They're squeezing that golden goose with such a death grip, you can practically hear it choking. The gut reaction to all this is just raw anger. Look, you know Vegas is going to cost you a little. You expect the house to have an edge, of course, but you don't expect to be treated like a fool just because you need a drink of water. When you hit someone with a 400% markup for a bottle of water, you're not just making money, you are making a statement. You're screaming at your guests that they aren't cherished patrons anymore. They're just walking wallets, ripe for the picking. And here's the thing about screaming a message like that. Sooner or later, your guests are going to hear it, loud and painfully clear. They start to understand that they've stopped being guests. They've become the mark. And who on earth wants to spend their vacation in a place where they have to be on high alert just to avoid getting fleeced over a bag of chips? Which brings us to part 2, the broken formula. This goes straight to the very heart of the sickness. It's a fundamental change in corporate thinking that has absolutely shattered the soul of the Vegas experience. It's what I call the death of the loss leader. If you're old enough to recall the days of 99-cent shrimp cocktails or those legendary $20 rooms, then you've seen the loss leader strategy in its prime. The casinos understood a simple truth. If they could lure you inside with dirt-cheap food and a place to stay, the cold, hard math of the casino floor would handle the rest. The hotel, the buffet, the restaurants, they were all designed to lose money, or, at best, break even. They were bait, all of it, to fuel the real profit engine, the casino. It was this beautiful, symbiotic relationship that kept this city alive and kicking, even when the economy tanked. But today, the fresh-faced MBA grads calling the shots from their high-rise offices have decided that old-school math is for suckers. They've switched to a brutal new model, where every last square foot of their property has to be a raging profit center. That hotel room now has to generate a massive return. The parking garage, which was always free to get you in the door to gamble, is now a high-margin revenue stream. The restaurants? They're leased out to celebrity chefs who charge an arm and a leg for a steak. I'm sure on a spreadsheet tucked away in some New York boardroom, this all looks like a brilliant plan to diversify revenue. But down here on the ground, in the messy, complicated world of human emotion, it's an absolute train wreck. Let me put it another way. Imagine you invite your best friends over for a big poker night. You tell them, hey, the buy-in's a bit steep, but don't worry, the beer and pizza are all on me. You can bet everyone is showing up, thrilled for the game. Now, imagine you invite them over again, but this time you're charging them $10 to park in your driveway, $5 for a slice of that pizza, and a chair rental fee just for the privilege of sitting down. Seriously, how long do you think that game is going to last? How many of those so-called friends are ever coming back? That is precisely, beat for beat, what Las Vegas has done. They've completely forgotten that the loss leaders were never really losses at all. You see, those perks weren't just freebies. They were investments in our loyalty. By turning every little thing into a way to make money, they've killed any reason for the regular guy to even show up. The moment I feel completely taken advantage of just by handing over my card for a resort fee, you can bet I'm not about to go sit at a slot machine and happily burn through a few $100. I'm just too busy fuming about the parking fee to even think about enjoying a gamble. They've completely shattered the psychological magic that made this entire city rich. Part 3. The insult of pricing. Now, I want to get into something that goes far beyond simple economics. I'm talking about basic dignity. There comes a point where expensive crosses a line and just becomes flat-out insulting. We are officially at that point. Not long ago, stories started popping up about domestic beers. We're talking a plain old can of Budweiser or Coors Light being sold for $17 at some bars on the Strip. Just process that for a second. $17. You could stroll into any Walmart in America and grab an entire case of beer for that exact same price. When a casino charges you that kind of money, they're not just covering their costs, they are openly laughing in your face. They're seeing exactly how much humiliation you're willing to take just to stand on their carpet. And believe me, it isn't just about the booze. Let's talk about the simple morning routine. You wake up, maybe you're feeling a little out of it, and all you want in the world is a simple cup of coffee. You head down to the lobby Starbucks, fully expecting to pay more, maybe $6 or $7. But then you're slammed with a bill for $12 for a single latte. That isn't luxury, my friends. That is a mugging without the mask. The unspoken message is screaming at you. You're trapped here. You've got nowhere else to go, so pay up. It creates this tense, hostile feeling. So, instead of kicking back and enjoying your trip, you're stuck constantly doing math in your head, constantly guarding your wallet, and constantly feeling like you're the punchline to a really terrible joke. This kind of insult pricing guts the very idea of hospitality. Hospitality is meant to make you feel welcome, to make you feel important. But when you're paying fine dining prices for fast food quality, you don't feel important. you feel stupid. And nobody on this planet likes to feel stupid.